Historically, this is probably the toughest week. It's you've gone through 2 weeks of camp, then you ask them to have great practices without a game this week, and they have to get accustomed to the process of up earlier. Camp, they got to sleep a little bit. We got to get up at 6 now, or be here at 6 now, and then classes and study hall and tutoring. So I was not surprised that yesterday I thought what we had was a fairly sloppy practice. Today was much better, and hopefully it'll continue that trend throughout the week and then into game week. But, we're dealing with quite a few little injuries. We're thankful that to this point none seem to be, like season ending, but still it's made us thin at a few spots, especially running back. But hopefully we'll get those guys back in a quick turnaround. But that's made practice a little more challenging too. Obviously, learning how to practice when you divide up and you start going scout teams, service teams for your opponent, which today was our first day of that. That always hurts some people, and you got to motivate them to understand that everyone's role is as important as the next. And we've got to learn. We'll have to learn how to practice a little better. I thought we didn't practice as hard at times today, going against those scout looks that we would against our defensive unit. So we've got to correct that. But like our kids, like our attitude, like our leadership, obviously there's so many unknowns until you play some games. But I think we're in a good spot right now other than the injuries.
Coach, last week you weren't sure on your QB1. What changed your mind and solidified your decision?
Emily, I don't know that I'm 100% sure now, but it's I just think he separated himself by a small margin over JB, just in probably the timing throws of close windows. And it's not that I don't believe that JB or Caden or Nate couldn't do well either. And that's probably what makes it more challenging. But I think it comes down to just what we saw in the two scrimmages, particularly the last one. And probably there's part of me that knows he's done it before and want to see if we can rekindle a type of year that he had, at Baylor. That's what it came down to. But, again, it was very close and very difficult.
You've moved Treyarch Sibley to running back with, looks like TJ Green and Malik Caper both out. Is that going to be a permanent move, or do you plan on Sibley filling in at running back and move back to wide receiver?
I hope it's not a permanent move. He was really doing well at receiver, but it's just, we were down Malik, TJ, and Shedro today. So you just he's the next man up. We're only carrying 4 right now on scholarship, and Trayon can do it. And so we got to get him some reps there. We started that last, Thursday or so. And but the expectation is that we would have him prepared in an emergency situation, but hopefully he can move back and as we get healthier in that room again.
Do you have any more clarity on your kicker spot?
That's a tough one. Nick kicked really well in the scrimmage Saturday. Braden has been dealing with an injury, so it's kind of hard to evaluate him properly probably. Ultimately, I'll probably let Tanner tell me who he wants to go with. That'll probably be the day before the game on that, and we'll go with that.
Coach, as the season comes above the horizon, how is your confidence level right now?
I'm always confident. Optimistic, I would say. I think our schedule is very difficult. I don't know that confidence means you think you're going to win X amount of games. I mean, we could easily lose to a lot of the teams that are on our schedule. I mean, Southern Miss is going to have some of the best athletes you'll play, and just go down the schedule, and any of those can beat you. So, but yet we're confident that, our kids are going to get ready, and we're going to play hard, and we're going to be in games and have a chance to win some, and hopefully we'll find a way to do that.
How did the competition at quarterback this season change the way that you approached camp without a solidified starter and the way that you develop your offense?
I've done it so many times where you didn't know who your starter was that it really didn't. You rotate the reps between the guys you think are in the competition between the ones and twos and try to get them equal reps for a 2-week period. And you chart every single decision, every single throw, and it was very close. Both their decision making was a very high grade. Execution, Charlie was a little ahead on that, but it was very close and close between all 4 of them, truthfully. But just rotated them for those 2 weeks and then decided we'd look at the facts of what the stats say and what we saw with our eyes and make a decision after that.
Caleb, go ahead.
How do you go ahead and get, after you've gone through camp with competition and guys battling for playing time, the guys that realize they may not be getting as much playing time, how do you get them re-mentally focused and locked in for what their new role is?
Well, if you knew how to do that all the time, you could probably sell that pretty easily. It's hard. It's difficult. Everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to compete. Everybody wants to contribute. And the reality is, in sport and competition, everybody's role is different. And it's the ones that handle it the right way, I think, are going to make it well in life. And that's what I try to explain to them, that this is one. Life is just a series of obstacles and puzzles that we have to figure out how to deal with. And you not having your number called on this given day or this given time is just another one of those obstacles or pieces to the puzzle. And the more we're able to figure those out and move forward, the better off we're probably going to handle life. And so I have those conversations with them. I'm not always right in these decisions, and sometimes they sort out to be different as the season plays out. So just keep preparing yourself for your moment whenever it may come.
To ask you about Caleb Coleman. He's a guy that's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, hasn't been able to get on the field a lot, but it seems like he's had a really good camp in the month of August. Is he someone that you think could really turn it on this year?
I'm really proud of what Caleb's become as a person, as a man, compared to where he was when we arrived. And it would give me great joy to see him contribute. And I think he's put himself in a position to do that. Obviously, there's, if we get totally healthy in that room, we've got some good players there. But he has certainly put himself in a position to play a role, and I'd love to see him have success doing it.
Coach, Darrell Johnson's just been named to the 2023 senior watch list. What are your comments on how he contributes to this?
Yeah, I'm really proud of how he's matured since he's been here also. It was a transition period that he had to learn how to work and how to eat and how to train and take care of himself. And he's had some highs and lows. I think he made the right decision to come back and try to mature. He's gained some nice weight and hopefully has an outstanding year rushing the passer.
Coach, what would you say is the identity of this team, if there is an identity of this team as of present?
No, I don't know yet. Hopefully it's a really, really tough defense. That's what I would like for our teams to be known as, an efficient offense. But when defenses play well, you win some games, and hopefully that'll be the case. But I think your identity's always developed as the season goes on. We kind of find out, hey, we're stronger here than we thought, or we're weaker here than we thought, and where we're weak, we've got to find a way to make up for that, and where we're strong, we need to lean on those. And so I think our identity will be determined, in the first half of the season for sure.
Coach, heading into the first, we've already talked about the injuries. Do you feel like 10 days out, you're going to be healthy enough for your liking going into week 1?
I sure hope so. I don't anticipate it being to something that is that drastically changes us. I don't anticipate that, but you never know. We still got several practices left, and just hope and pray that we can stay healthy and get them all to the game.
Who comes to mind that surprised you during camp or that you're excited about this season? Offense or defense?
Day-Day's been pretty surprising. Like him a lot. Those young safeties, Corey and Brylan, I think are, they're probably going to push for playing time some for us. Kobe Singleton's been a surprise at corner. I think he's going to be a solid player too. The move to Akil to linebacker he's kind of proven he can do both, and we're going to use him in both because he's such a talented kid. So I don't know, I hate to keep X at tackle or guard or wherever we put him. We like him in the offensive line, so I probably should stop for it. But there's been several surprises.
Defense got some turnovers, some interceptions in that scrimmage this past Saturday. I know as an offensive guy that probably doesn't set well, but then when you look at, the defense wanting to force more turnovers this year, was that something you were pleased to see?
Yeah, I mean, 2 of them were, off receivers' hands, and that, can't happen. The receivers got to protect the quarterback, and both of those should have been caught balls on those 2, and the other one was a tip by the D-line, which they're taking pride in getting, and so it's good to see them get turnovers for sure. It's not – I don't win in scrimmages or practices. It's, you feel bad one way or the other, or you feel like we didn't play as well as we should on one side or the other. So, but it's good to see them getting some turnovers.
Did you get a chance to know Luke Knox while Dawson was at Ole Miss?
I did. The Knox family are dear to my heart. Obviously, I recruited Dawson and was real close to that family, and got to meet them all throughout, Dawson's playing time for me, and it was just tragedy. And I talked to both the dad and the Dawson, and just you don't have words for those type of moments. You just say that we're praying for you, and they're a strong family of faith, and they'll get through it. But I can't imagine the pain that they're feeling.
Coach, if you don't mind just talking a little bit about Jalen Jimerson's development on the field and what you've seen from him so far.
Well, he's put himself in a position to contribute. He's in our 2-deep rotation right now, and he's had a solid camp, better than his spring. And so I'm pleased with how he's maturing. I think when he first got here, he was a bit immature and didn't quite know how to work consistently every single day, and now I'm proud that he seems to be doing that, and I sure hope it translates onto the field. But he's right there. He's going to get his shot week 1 and 2, and he's going to be pushed by some of them younger guys in time if he doesn't. So hopefully he'll do well.
You've coached so many different groups of guys, but what specifically about this team gets you excited, whether it's their energy, just their skill set, what they collectively bring to the table?
I get excited every year about teams and the challenge of bringing another group together. But this one, we had a neat camp with our Watchman series, and to hear our guys talk about what that means to them just kind of made me feel like I think we're on to something in our culture here. I don't know that you ever get it to be 100% buy-in. Anytime you have 120 people, much less a team, there's no different. I don't know that you get 100% buy-in on that, but we're pretty close. And I love the leadership of this team. I like our staff. I like the energy that I feel from them. I think we're a very transparent group, both coaches and players, and sometimes that makes for interesting conversation. But we've all, we say what's on our mind, and we ask where we're struggling for help. And we had a coach do that in the staff in the Watchman series. He wanted some of the players to hold him accountable to something different in a different way he wanted to coach. I thought that was neat, and it's just, I think, created a nice foundation of trust for the most part.
Have captains been elected yet?
We've got a culture council, and they'll all be a rotation of captains with those guys that are on it. Oh, boy. See, all right, Scruggs, Quentin, Akil, Trayshawn, DeMario, JB, Austin, Aiden. Is that it? CJ Yarbrough. I think there's one more, and Tyron Dupree maybe, and Brendan. I think I got them all. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I was going through my mind. We had a meal at my house, and I was trying to go around the circle there.
All right, guys, got time for 1 or 2 more questions for Coach.
With obviously the change at defensive coordinator, a lot's been made of the offense this camp, but where's the defense in terms of its communication and everybody getting on the same page, given that there are new voices there?
Yeah, it's the same terminology. It's the same defense. Just a different voice calling it between Jack and Josh. So it's, they were both here. We hadn't changed any of the verbiage. So it's our defense has been, getting steadily better. So we don't want to change a whole lot from that. So I don't think a whole lot's changed, truthfully. They've yet, they've got to call the game now. But that's the only thing that I haven't seen because they really haven't missed a beat. It's the same thing.